Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Love, Laughs, and Lessons. And we are in our Let's Talk About Sex series. We have another wonderful guest on the show. And Denise, my co host, will go ahead and introduce her right now.
Absolutely. Hello, everyone. I'm Denise Rai. And in today's episode, we have the privilege of hosting Kerie Logan, a visionary healer and master hypnotherapist with over 4 decades of experience in unlocking human potential. Kerie was born in the spiritual embrace of Northern California. I love California. Kerie's journey into the realms of empowerment began with her early involvement in the inner peace movement. This foundational experience this foundational experience deeply influenced her lifelong dedication to intuitive and spiritual growth. Through her esteemed practice, Empowered Within, Kerie has harnessed the transformative powers of NLP, meditation, and hypnosis, dedicating her craft to the betterment of humanity. Recognized as an outstanding slenderific hypno nutrition coach of the year and honored multiple times by the U.S. Commerce Association, her work transcends traditional boundaries. She touches lives across the globe. Kerie's approach is profoundly unique. She operates from a place of love, using her intuitive gifts to connect energetically with each individual, helping them to see themselves through the eyes of wholeness and love. Today, she joins us to share her insights on transformative healing and how we can all access and manage the upper rooms of lives full of purpose, joy, and love. Kerie, welcome.
Thank you for having me. I'm really excited to be here. So thank you.
We're
We're,
excited to have you.
we are. You're our first hypnotherapist. So this is really exciting.
It's a great honor.
So tell us a little bit about how you do what you do.
Well, the most interesting thing I would have to say is I'm sort of like the last person people go to. And because there's a lot of times a negative connotation about, about hypnotherapy, and especially around the subject of sex. It's really important and it's private. It's very, very private. And you're having to be vulnerable and open about what's holding you back. And so I
Mhm.
really like to create a safe space for people to where they can be heard and they can express their most intimate and personal details because sex is how we connect with one another. And to me, sex is very important. If you've ever watched that series on Netflix called Sex Education, my whole family, even my friends are like, the mom, that's you. I mean, you could talk about that stuff at the dinner table like it's no problem. So I've just gotten to that place where it's like, no, you got to be that way if you really want to help people.
I bet it's really disarming.
So
So
true.
people really can, relax into it knowing that nothing's going to phase you and you're comfortable speaking about all of it.
Yes, I mean, I'm just like, hey, what floats your boat is fine. And even one person one time had some weird kink, and he was asking me about, how did that develop? And when I explained it to him, he was like, that makes sense. And so I wasn't there to shame him or make him feel bad about himself. I wanted him to understand, this is why you feel and think this way. This is why you get aroused by that. As long as you're not hurting anybody or hurting yourself and you're having fun, that's all that matters. Enjoy yourself, enjoy your body, explore, play, be fun.
What's the difference, I guess, between talk therapy and hypnotherapy?
There's a huge difference. And the best way I can give the difference is an example of a smoker. A lot of smokers consciously know that they should not be smoking. It's bad for their health, but subconsciously they still do it. So the problem is that smoker could go to talk therapy and talk about quit smoking, but in their operating system, their subconscious mind, they're still going to do it. And so, what really helps is when the person relaxes and slows down their brainwave patterns, it opens the door to their conscious mind, their subconscious and conscious mind. It's wide open. And when the person is talking a positive statement, The conscious mind goes, yes, yes, there's always something better to do than smoke. I want to be a non-smoker. And the subconscious can hear. And the subconscious goes, oh, that's what you want me to do. Because I've been doing ABC, but now you want me to do XYZ. Let me rewire your brain. So it will deactivate the destructive negative habit patterns and beliefs or actions you have, and it will instill new positive ones. And that's why I tell people you want to listen to something for 28 to 30 days because it takes that long for a new habit or belief to become wired in. And if you just have one session, it's like someone's giving you a Band-Aid, and Band-Aids rip off. I want people to get a gold medal. I want them, like for smokers, I want you, no matter what life happens, you handle it without cigarettes, period. So that's kind of
Mhm.
my philosophy. I record it. I tell people, listen when you're getting ready for bed, because that's when your body is trained to relax anyway. You quiet your mind, and even if you fall asleep, there's a 45-minute window before your conscious mind goes to sleep because our subconscious never does. It controls our lungs, our breathing, all of our bodily functions.
Can anybody benefit from it?
Yes, there's three types of people it doesn't work for though. One, someone with an IQ below 70. Two, a person that's on a lot of drugs. And the third one is someone that just doesn't want to be hypnotized because you cannot force anyone to do anything that they don't want to do. And you
Yes.
can't. So even like for
Right.
a weight loss person, if I said, ooh, salads are bad for your health, your conscious mind's going to hear it and go, she's crazy, and just reject it. It will just bounce it right off.
So it's similar
So it's
in
not mind
psychotherapy.
control. Yeah.
Yeah,
People always think that hypnotherapy is some type of mind control and you're to watch whatever the swinging, blah, blah, blah.
no,
And no,
That's what the movies portray it to look
that's
like.
what the movie, yes.
they do. Well, meditation does the same exact thing. Creative
Okay.
visualization does the same exact thing.
Mhm.
Relaxation techniques slow down the brainwave pattern. It does the same exact thing.
So you enter into a different space.
Yes. Yep.
Which is why it's so powerful and that you have to do it for the 28 to 30 days, like you said, to be reframed or rewired.
Correct.
So let's talk about
Okay.
sex. How, how could somebody, benefit from hypnotherapy, or maybe what would they be dealing with around sex and intimacy where they might seek out your services? Maybe that's a better way of saying it.
A better, yes, I've had women that after having a child um, couldn't have orgasms anymore. And I've had husbands send me testimonials and they're so excited because it got their wives, their arousal state back. They were very, very happy. I've had people that have been sexually abused and were afraid of intimacy, were afraid to be touched. And that has cleared the trauma and allowed them to connect with people again. I've helped with, um, oh God, even childbirth. There's childbirth, there's IVF, there is vaginism. That's another area. And if people don't know what that is, it's where you can't have something penetrate inside the vagina.
Hmm.
It closes up. And I got an amazing testimonial once from this lady that tried everything, talk therapy, went to couples counseling, and was even prescribed lidocaine to numb the area. And after listening to my recording for overcoming vaginism out of desperation, she, for the first time in her life, had pain-free sex, and she was 38 years old.
Wow, amazing. Oh my
Wow.
gosh, 38 years and just having
Yeah,
discomfort for that long.
Yeah.
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 Yeah, so it helps a lot of ways. It does. It helps with female orgasm. It helps with building your arousal. It helps you be more attracted to your partner again. It can help with self-esteem and confidence. It, the the area is endless, and well, and you like ladies might enjoy this part too. Is It even helps with placenta previa.
Mm.
And I got a testimonial about, and if you don't know, anyone knows what that is, that's where the placenta is down below where the where you would give birth. It's blocking where the baby's head is. And you really want it to be up on the side of the womb. And so what I do is I had this person visualize that they had the power to move it and shift it with their mind. And she sent me a great testimonial with a picture of Quincy who was born.
Hmm.
Yeah. I mean, I was so excited. I've gotten so many amazing testimonials from people around the areas of childbirth and just rebuilding their connection again with other people.
So that just speaks to like the mind body connection,
Yes,
which when we can recognize that and utilize that ability, it's a beautiful thing because we've got a lot of control and power in the mind. Um,
we do. We have a lot of power and we have a lot of control. And, a lot of times seeds are planted in our mind, like limiting beliefs like sex is dirty. You're a
mhm,
bad girl if you do that.
mhm.
Only dirty girls do this. I mean, there's so many messages we've got growing up that, and like if you get caught, for example, you get caught masturbating and you felt huge amount of shame and you orgasm. Well, when you get older, you're going to seek that same exact thrill by
Mhm.
being
Yes.
humiliated or embarrassed or shamed
There's that association, right?
yeah,
You don't even realize it gets
yes,
bonded,
yes,
connected. Yeah.
yeah,
And that's where fetishes come in.
yes, they do.
Yeah. Yeah. And people say, I don't
I'd like to
know.
hear more
Yeah.
about that, Dr. Frankie, how fetishes come in. And then, Keri, if you could weigh in too, this would be a very interesting conversation, I think.
Yeah.
I mean,
It's
it is where fetishes set in. It starts all, I mean, all our problems, I hate to say that, it starts really from childhood.
yeah. There's
And when
like
we're
an
kids, we explore our
elevation
bodies.
in reaction and emotional response where it gets stored in a different, my understanding is it gets stored in a different, that memory gets stored in a different part of our brain because our nervous system is so heightened in that moment. And that bond is made, that association, I'm calling it a bond,
Yes,
that association. And then it's almost like you need to be elevated, escalated to that level again to experience arousal, to have that satisfying experience. Yeah.
100%.
And so do you keep seeking it? Okay, so say for instance, and hypothetically, say for instance, you're dating someone who loves to have his balls crushed with your high heels.
Hmm.
Where did that come from in childhood?
It could have came from where, I mean, I'm kind of speculating. It's really asking them questions. And so it could have came from where his mom always wore high heels and insulted his masculinity. I'm going to take
Ah,
these heels
okay.
and I'm going to crush your balls. And in some way, that kind of thrilled him and scared him at the same time. And he
Mhm.
could have gotten a little aroused. And with that little arousal, it creates that, like you were saying, the wires. They bond, they connect.
Yeah.
And yeah, and it's the same. I've heard of people that got spanked when their parent was wearing rubber and they had them over their lap and the feel and the sound of the rubber rubbing against them and being spanked was very arousing and those wires connected.
Yeah.
Got
Well
it.
said. So yeah,
So yeah, so it's a
makes sense.
perception. It's what the person perceives that can turn into, okay. I always wondered about fetishes.
Hmm.
So yeah, it's deeper than I guess I thought.
It goes a lot deeper. I mean, like some people have fetishes. I like large breasts. I like small breasts. I like the nipple size of this. I mean, people have, fetishes about that. Um, I know one person, she had a real big fetish of being humiliated by men. And she liked ugly, fat, gross, disgusting men. Yeah. And, but that's what was her turn on. And she was very attractive, very fit. I mean, I would look at her and be like, you could have so much better. But no, that's what turned her on. That's really was her thing. And but it was interesting because her I'm sharing maybe a little too much. Well, this was a long ago. But she was married at the same time and she would go out and cheat on her husband.
Mm.
So she was in a loving relationship. Her husband was a great person. I actually, he was a client of mine as well. But yes, she had this weird kink that she liked voyeurism. She liked just what most people would find repulsive. She found extremely arousing.
Hmm. So would she came to you because she wanted to quote unquote fix that or
In some way, she wanted to fix it because she felt like she was getting out of control and she was going down a slippery slope
Mhm.
is really what it was. And it was very hard for her to come to me and talk to me about this stuff because the biggest thing she was a fear of shame. The
Mhm.
other one was since I knew her husband, she was afraid I would share that with her husband. And I was like, nope, this is confidential. This is between just you and me. And
Mhm.
two, I had to help her realize why she was thinking that way and why she was feeling that way. And what turned her on the most was her husband was very mousy. He was not dominant in the relationship. And she wanted a man to dominate her. She wanted to be a submissive. And the problem was is her husband wanted to be a submissive. So they
Mm.
were both, it doesn't work that way in the bedroom. Two people both wanting to be submissive. Well, someone's got to be the dominant, and neither of them wanted to play that role. So she went out seeking it from other people behind his back, and it was turning really, really ugly and scary. So that's why she came to me because she's like, I tried talk therapy. I've seen a sex therapist. I've been recommended I need to, fix my brain. And I was like, okay, I'm the person for that. Let's do this.
So did you actually work on like undoing the fetish or the submissive dominant role?
I actually worked on both,
Mhm.
where I did ask permission of her to talk to her husband about wanting him to be more dominating in the bedroom. And I said, and are you okay with me sharing some of your kinks? And at first he was like, really? He found it fascinating and he thought it was kind of arousing. And I said, but you're going to have to learn to role play because this is what she needs from you. And I said, there's no way she's going to be the domineering person for you, but if you want to have a more intimate relationship with your wife, which is what she wants, this is what you need to do. And yes, we talked about sex toys and we talked about butt plugs and ball gags and being, what was it? She liked being hogtied.
What's hogtied?
Is where I didn't know that either. I had to look it up. It's where you're lying on your belly and your arms are like behind your back and they're attached to your ankles.
Oh.
It's like you're roped. She really liked being, I guess they call it whatever the ropes are. She was
Mhm.
really big into that. And and they actually didn't end up having fun with it of trying new things and being creative. I mean, this is going to get really personal here in the terms of sex. But one time, the husband had her hogtied I hope I'm okay to say this.
Oh, you can say
Had,
anything. Just
had a
maintain
had a
confidentiality.
ball gag in her mouth, had a butt plug in her butt, and something else in the other hole, and had the bedroom door slightly open and invited a neighbor over for a cocktail. And that's what she wanted. And they were talking, and she wanted the neighbor to have a glimpse into the bedroom of how she was displayed
Yeah.
naked on the bed. And at the end, she was like, when the guy left, he did see her. She was like, I was wetter than you could ever imagine. It was so exciting for me, and they had amazing sex after that. She was just so turned on, and I was just like, hey, great, whatever floats your boat. I mean,
So it's like the feeling of voyeurism or peeping Tom, so to speak.
yes, and if that's her kink, then that's, her kink. And he was okay with that. And to me, you know, that's unconditional love. Because a lot of people put conditions on what sex should be like and what love looks like. And everyone is different. We all have our things. And I mean, even with me, so this will get a little personal with me. There's a show on Netflix called Love, Sex, Scoop. Have you heard about it?
I have.
Okay. And there was a part where this couple, the woman really likes to connect and be touched, an energetic feeling. And I had back then, before I married this guy, um, my husband was not that great of a lover. And I didn't know how to talk to him about it. So I had him watch that series with me. And when he watched the woman and heard her story and saw the couples trying that technique and approach and how it just transformed them, I said, I need that from you. I do. I need that from you because I said, this is the one area where we're not connecting, and that's in the bedroom. I need that from you. And I said, and I hope you don't leave me because I'm asking you to explore my body. I need you to slow down. I need you to be patient. I need you to rev up my engine and warm me up because once you do that, I'm ready to go. But if you don't start off, nice and slow and this and that, and get me to let my walls down and unwind, you're not going to get anywhere. And
I,
now he's like the best lover I've ever had.
That was my next question. I
Yeah,
was
oh
like, and
no,
have
he's the best
changed?
lover I have ever had. Best lover.
so it's
I was
that
like,
speaks to the
yeah,
idea of asking for what you need, which is such a challenge for so many of us.
yes. Oh, I've had guys dump me when I asked it for what I need, and my husband was shocked. He was like, "Are you serious? Guys have dumped you because you asked them to just be a little bit more slower and try this and you know use a feather or you know anything like that stimulates the skin." And I'm like, yeah, I've had guys literally just tell me I'm a pervert and leave.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, it's like you have nothing to lose but to
No,
actually ask for what you need because the longer you go without getting your needs met, the more likely it will be that you end up actually leaving the relationship because how long you're going to go your whole life without getting your
right.
needs met? I mean, many of us do, right? We do, which is so painful to even think about.
Well, it
Um,
builds resentment and
yeah,
bitterness. And if your love language is physical touch, you need that. You're denying yourself what your body wants, what you want.
yeah, yeah, absolutely. So it's like, go for it. You might as well.
Yeah,
So I just, on this podcast, I'm always trying to really capture some, for folks who are listening, for them to walk away feeling like they've got some like skills or some ways in which they can apply what we talk about to their life in general. And it's everything under the sun, not just sex, but it's just like interpersonal, like ways of relating and connecting.
it
So
is.
that, yeah,
There are so many ways that we could communicate better and connect better and allowing yourself to be vulnerable. I think is the really most important thing. And knowing that you're safe and you can trust the person and they're not gonna shame you or humiliate you or make you feel less of a human being.
And the other thing is it's like there's so much room for like each of us has different sexual desires and ways that we experience pleasure. That's what you're speaking to, right? There's so many different kinds of kinks and fetishes and just ways of like kissing and all of that. Like recently I had a client say, if when we make out, if it's not the kiss isn't spot on, then, that's not going to work for me. And it's like, but I mean, that's really something that you can work with. You can explain how you would love to be kissed.
Yes.
So to toss the baby out with the bathwater because the person immediately isn't able to kiss to your liking, it's like you're cutting your nose off to spite your face, so to speak.
Yes,
My,
you are. I mean, a lot of uh, people do in that area, and it's just really important to honor yourself and to also honor your partner and teach them. I mean, I have to be honest. I mean, I taught my husband everything that
oh my God. If he listens to our episode, he's going to be like, I mean, did you get permission? It's like, you just put me on blast, babe. I don't know how I
That's
feel
right.
about this.
Keri, you have to redeem yourself. You have to say, and he's taught me a lot too.
no, yeah, he has taught me a lot too. He has. Well, because then once he figured out he has. Because once he figured out how to, I call open Pandora's box, he then went on a rampage of, ooh, let me get this unique feather and let me get this hand mitt that will do this to your skin. And he said it was the funnest thing for him
Yeah,
to do the shopping and then to play
Yeah,
on my body.
the
I
creativity,
love
right? You
that.
just opened it up. You're like,
Right.
hey, now go ahead and take this information and explore with
Yeah.
my body. I mean,
I
Yes.
love
that's
it.
hot.
Yeah. It was. He thought it was the most sexy, erotic thing. And I'm like, hey, and then, ooh, but when I did it on him, he had no idea how amazing it felt. It blew his mind because nobody I mean, my husband, I think, is 64. Nobody had ever touched him that way. Nobody had ever explored him that way. And he will say to me, I'm the best lover he's ever had.
Wow.
And so it's great when we call it our adult time and we look forward to it and we tease each other all the time. Just
Well,
being playful.
it's a beautiful thing that he was able to take the feedback and not feel slighted or have his ego
Right.
interfere, right? He took it and he was like, great, this is an opportunity for more connection and I'm going
Yes.
to go for it and explore. So that's wonderful.
Yeah.
Not easy. I think a lot of people, their ego gets in the way and then they feel offended and they feel
Sure.
criticized or judged or less than, and they get into this whole shame spiral. Oh my gosh, I'm so embarrassed. I'm such a bad lover,
Right.
which is not
Right.
productive, not
No, it's
helpful.
not productive. And I mean it's hard when people say, well, it's positive criticism because the word criticism is such a negative, but it's
Right.
like, no, I want to connect with you. I want a deeper relationship with you. I want something that's meaningful, not superficial.
Mhm.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It sounds like with hypnotherapy, you can overcome a lot of like these mental roadblocks, right? So we deal with clients every day that are so specific about what they want. And if they would only give the relationship a chance, it could be something so amazingly almost divine if they just got rid of all of the stuff of that they're putting in front of them. They have to look this way, they have to be this way, they have to this and this and this and this. So it almost sounds like you could love anyone
Yeah.
if you
You
both put
could.
in the effort,
You
right?
You really can. Well, and I look at it too, it's just like setting the mood. There's lighting. A lot of women, we're so harsh on our bodies. We're embarrassed about, after having a kid. Well, it just even not even after having a kid. As we age, our body changes. Our breasts
Mhm.
aren't perky like they used to be. We get dimples on our butt. We there's all these, imperfections. But what's so neat is what I admire the most in my job is when I have met husbands or even just intimate partners, even if it's same-sex couples, where they don't care how the person looks on the outside. They love them regardless, and they find those imperfections beautiful. Like they love that dimple on that butt, and they
That's
think it's
right.
so cute.
Yeah.
And I loved that. It didn't matter what shape or size the woman was. He thought she was beautiful, just beautiful. And it's so nice to be able to rebuild a woman's confidence where she could be like, yes, my husband finds me sexy and attractive. I might not, but I really can admire that he sees this beauty in me. And when they have sex, they no longer have to have the room pitch dark or, totally black, and her just feeling so inadequate about herself. It's like, no, just be free. Be free with your body, be free with your emotions, and just love one another. Have amazing sex. Be orgasmic. And I've heard so many stories from women that are just like, you saved my marriage, you saved my relationship, you've done so much for me. I mean, one husband was like, I'm your biggest fan. And I was like, thank you.
He's like, now I get to have sex with my wife with the
Yeah,
lights on.
With the lights on.
Because often
But
it's
it,
us, right? It's the
yes,
it's the women who are like,
it
oh,
is.
those lights, turn them off. Because we
Yes,
don't want any of the dimples or the
yeah,
moles or what, which we
yeah,
all have bodily imperfections. They're not
yes,
imperfections, they're just differences that,
yes,
are not presented in TV and right movies. They're all airbrushed and angles are perfect. And that's not what
right.
people look like. That's not what bodies really look like. So one more thing I want to point out is like the defending against intimacy is basically when we get caught up in all of the superficial stuff, when somebody like what we hear as matchmakers, it's like a lot of our clients are so focused on the surface.
Yeah,
It's a defense against actually being available and have experiencing intimacy and connection because there are
yeah,
all these barriers
that's
because
right.
that person doesn't exist with
yeah.
all of those perfections. We don't have, it's not real. It's a fantasy.
That's, yeah.
Is
Or
that
it's
what you,
AI generated.
and now that's a whole other,
Yeah,
ball of wax and that we're just beginning to really have to deal with as matchmakers and singles
Mhm.
out in the world dating where we're seeing people that are actually they're absolutely perfect, but it seems to be that they're real, but they're not. They're AI
But they're not.
generated. So what is that doing to us? It's like we got to figure out how to really get around all of it and body acceptance. Like, your
yes.
clients coming to you to really learn how to love their bodies that are real, real bodies.
That's right. And that I
So
was gonna ask.
what I tell women is I have a star machine, and I got it from Amazon for like I think $25. It puts the moon on the ceiling, and it has the aurora borealis and the stars. And I tell women, make that light your intimacy light. So you turn it on, you're creating this ambiance in your bedroom. Wear some lingerie, wear something that makes you feel beautiful. Listen to music that, you enjoy. Maybe have a glass of wine or something and just really take your time. Take your time because I mean, and that's the thing, is it's like it's not this is going to sound funny, but I call it my stripper light because it's not fully bright. but there's shadows. It's dim, it doesn't point out all of our imperfections. So it can make you feel a little bit more confident and sexy.
Yeah. Candles
And
too.
deep down
They
inside,
never
you know what
fail.
I say.
Yeah.
I think I said that to you, Keri, that deep down inside everybody wants to twerk. Was that you? I said that too.
I'd love to try that, but I feel like my back might break.
Well, Dr. Frankie, have you tried?
Well, I have a little issue. I have tried, but I
See?
do weightlifting, right?
Yes.
Tons of weightlifting. And my argument about twerking is that you got to have a little jelly in your tush. Your
Yes.
tush got to move. But when you're
Right.
you're built and you
And
got
you're
lots of
right.
muscles, the booty doesn't move. So my twerking doesn't quite look right.
Actually, the booty doesn't pop.
It does not pop. But you know what? I've given it like a really good
A
fair
good.
shot. Yeah. But it's true. It's like I mean, it's making me think of the stripper pole. I had a client a while ago that had a stripper pole in her house. She was taking stripper class, like the whatever pole dancing
Pole
classes, and
dancing.
then
Yes.
she got a pole in her house, and she got to work out at home doing it, mastering it, and then for her husband was doing all the moves, and he went crazy.
Oh, I
That's right.
bet.
There's some incredible strength behind that pole dancing. It is not for the weak. So,
But like you end up feeling yourself. It's like that
yes.
idea of like get into your sexuality, into your sensuality, and we've got to
Yeah.
be seeking out those opportunities to like feel ourselves. So like for me, I feel myself in the gym when I'm lifting and it's like all this weight and I can throw weight around that most women can't.
Yeah.
Most men can't. And it's like I feel sexy. So we have to
Empowering
kind of,
and
yeah,
sexy.
you feel
Yeah.
powerful and you also all your like I should speak of myself, my hangups about my body diminish. Like I don't have them anymore because I just see strength.
That's a beautiful thing. I think if we could all get to that place where we're really like and totally embracing who we are naked, you know, all of
Yes,
us, then it would
Yeah.
probably be easier for us to allow that other love in from the other, you know? Yeah.
absolutely. And it's not without imperfections,
No,
right? I just
that's
want to
right. It's
say
part of it. That's
what I
right.
see is that what's
Yeah.
at the forefront, right? I focus on the what I've built over years in my body, whether it be the shape of my arms or what that stands out to me now. It's not the moles, for example, that I hate. I still hate them. I had many removed and I have scars from them that are probably way uglier than
They're the
my
most.
actual mole, but I just hated it. And moles are kind of right. They're in our society. They're just kind of like they have a negative people, right? Am I making that up? Or that might be in my head, but I
No, no, you're
think,
not making it up. I think, yeah.
yeah, people are
Yeah.
embarrassed if a hair grows out of a mole, like all that stuff. I'm like, just get it off of my body. And I was willing to have scars all over. I don't even really care anymore. I don't even see them. So, Keri, you were going to say something.
No, and you're literally spot on because I remember listening to a woman that was talking about her weight. And she said for over 30 years she struggled with her weight, been on every diet possible and hated her body. And even had the bypass surgery and gained a bunch of weight back and was so frustrated. And this woman was a coach, for a living. And she said,
Mhm.
not until one day I said, the hell with this. I'm just going to make peace with my body. I'm just going to accept my body for the way that it is. I know how to eat healthy. I know how to exercise. I'm just going to stop beating myself up. I'm going to take one day at a time and just be kind to myself, have self
Mhm.
acceptance. And she said, as soon as I did that, I started to lose weight. I was
Wow.
feeling better. My whole body changed. My whole outlook changed because I wasn't fighting it. I made peace with it and I accepted my imperfections and my flaws. And the one that was beating me up all along was me. It wasn't my partner, it was me. And I needed to stop. And I loved it when she shared that information. I was just like, high five, sister.
Yeah, that's right. You go. That's it.
It's tough, right, to do that. It's like and sometimes I think people don't even know where to begin. Like I discovered, I mean, obviously I'm a psychologist, so I knew, okay, here's what I can cognitive behavioral approach, and here are the things I can do to change the way that I think about my body and all this stuff. But it was a big surprise for me to find that, okay, when I mastered weightlifting and what
Mhm.
it did to my body, it was a surprise to see like, wow, this is like has so much more power than I could ever have imagined.
Yeah.
So,
Could
Well,
you
and
just
yoga can
stop
give
though,
someone the
Frankie?
same. I,
Could
I
you
was,
stop? I'm sorry.
go
Go
ahead.
ahead. If you stopped, would it diminish anything? Like if you stopped working out?
I think that because it feels so good and I've gotten to a place where I really, like I'm saying, I really love my body and I accept it. I don't know that I'll ever completely stop fitness, but I
Hmm.
changed as I'm almost 50. So like I
Yeah.
don't lift like I used to 15
Yeah.
years ago. So I'm having to adapt and adjust as I
Mhm.
age and I go into menopause and all of that. You lose your strength. You right? You
Right.
lose your muscle density. So I'm having to accept my body changes as an ongoing process. And I wouldn't stop because
Yeah.
it feels too good.
Yeah.
I don't want to go back there. I don't want to go to where I was, you know?
I think you said something so important, like that adaptation as you change and as your body changes and as you're not able to lift as much or during menopause or whatever, and then still being able to adapt and still see the beauty in where you are right now and you keep going.
Totally. And I think I'm just more accepting. I'm less harsh on myself. Like
Mhm.
yeah, you realize that like we need to be kind. Like you were saying, Keri, we've got to be like loving and kind. If we don't love ourselves and show care and kindness to ourselves, how could we ever receive that and accept that in relationship with others?
Exactly. Well, and it's like even as we age, you can still lift weights. But let's say you running is too hard on your knees. You could do yoga. You could
Hmm.
do an elliptical. There's all these other forms of
Aqua aerobics.
or
Yeah.
aerobics. There's other forms of exercising your body that don't have to be so hard or harsh on the muscles
Oh,
or those areas.
one thing I do want to say for women, cis women that are listening in, we have to lift weights all the way to the end. We got to lift weights because we lose muscle mass as females.
Yeah.
So, it causes all sorts of health problems down the line. So even
Mhm.
if it's just lightweight, just lifting, you have to bear some weight, is what I've learned. And yeah, but you got to be real about it and not injure yourself. You got to just be adapting over time and go, okay, you know what? Maybe it's not going to be 300 pounds anymore. Maybe it's going to be 150. And be okay with it.
And some of us are like, and maybe it's just 15 pounds.
Right? Exactly. Just 15. Those little the dumbbells,
Those little
15-pound.
dumbbells.
Yeah. No judgment. I'll
No
be there
judgment.
too.
I hear you. That's right.
Yeah. Just be lifting something. Put those
Just be
little
lifting.
ankle weights around your ankle and yeah.
That's right.
And the booty, we didn't even get to talk about that, but like with pole
Right.
dancing and all that, the abs, but then the butt. I feel like you got to I'm a therapist and you too, Keri. You're in the right, you're sitting in a chair.
Yeah.
Our butts get flat. We got it, right? We got to take care of ourselves because that also is what makes you feel sexy. When you've got,
Right.
right, you still got it.
I got a ghetto booty, so I'm totally fine.
You lucky girl. I got a flat booty that I built with muscle.
No, I'm back. I used to go to the gym all the time. But I do more yoga, but I have a tank top that says squat because rappers don't sing write songs about you flat butts or something like that.
No, like, yeah, you got to get
At
booty. And
all.
now with like the Kardashians, which, ugh, I'm just like, what are they doing for us women? They are like, there's so much that's artificial, but they have, because of them, the emphasis on booty is like more than ever, I feel like,
Yeah.
which makes it tough. But anyway, the idea of like going back to what we were talking about, the idea of feeling like sexy and sensual and accepting our bodies, I think really a good place to start in that on your own is to do something physical where you feel your body, you're feeling your breath, you're building something.
That's
And
right.
it can be through Pilates, it can be through yoga, low impact, it can be through swimming. All
Yeah.
of that helps you build and feel like you're in your power. I think it gives you strength.
Yeah. Yeah. And
Yeah,
Yeah.
changing that mindset.
it does. And
Yep.
it helps your mindset too. Yes.
For sure.
Yes. So, Keri, how can listeners find you?
So people can find me on Empowered Within, and they can also find me on Master the Upper Rooms. A lot of the I on Empowered Within, I have over 1,000 different MP3 downloads, and they're all like $3.95. Very, very affordable. And I tell people you can listen to up to three things, at once. You can literally stack it. You just download it, put on your phone. You can even create a folder called Hypnosis. And it like what I used to do, and my kids did it, and other people have done it, is I at night I just put it on a continuous loop and I just play it out loud. So if I wake up and I go to the bathroom, I'm training myself that every time I listen to it, oh, when I get back in bed, I'm just going to relax and drift off. Because my subconscious mind is never going to sleep. It hears everything that's being said, and everything that's said is positive. So
Mm.
there's nothing that's, negative in there. And um, if someone wants a custom recording, they can get a custom recording. If someone wants coaching, they can have coaching. I do lots of things for a wide variety of people. And yes, I help people, all over the globe. Yeah, literally all over the globe.
It's beautiful. So turn that TV off and tune in.
Mm-hmm.
Stop
Yeah,
scrolling and tune in. And yeah, make a big difference.
yeah.
Tune into self.
Tune into
And there's
self.
a bunch of free stuff too. I have a YouTube channel, Empowered Within. I'm on Insight Timer. That's a meditation app. I've been on there for quite a while. So, I mean, literally, if you just Google my name, Kerie, Kerie Logan, you'll find so much stuff about me. There's a
Beautiful.
lot. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's
Keri, thank you for spending time with us and sharing so much helpful information with our listeners.
well, and we
That was
talked about
so
a
good.
juicy topic.
Yeah, I thought so. All right, everyone. We'll see you next time. Take care. Kisses,
Okay.
hugs. See you later.
Bye.
Bye.